Can't go wrong with some Atari 2600 games. Here we have Centipede. Now, this is one I've been kind of after for a while because, you know, Centipede on the Dreamcast, Dreamcast, there's my Dreamcast collection, was a game that I've been wanting for a while. It was definitely something I wanted to get when I first got my Dreamcast, but I ended up not getting it. But with that said, I still wanted some version of Centipede. I mean, I guess I mainly wanted it on Dreamcast so I could get another Dreamcast game, but here we are with the 2600 version of Centipede, a game that, it's one of those arcade games that's like, hey, a classic, and yeah, I agree. I mean, considering that the first time I ever played Centipede was about a week ago when I got this, along with all these other games, it's great stuff. It's, for one thing, I like that even when the Centipede reaches at the bottom of the screen, you're not totally fucked because you can move slightly up and down. I really like a lot of things that this game does. Like, it's a pretty damn fun game, and it's definitely a 2600 game I'll be playing a lot, actually. I mean, I don't know how much I'll be playing my 2600, because there are lots of other games I gotta play, but, it's definitely, like, some enjoyable, like, fun. Definitely something I could see myself sitting down and playing more so than some other 2600 games I own. Not to bash those, there are a lot of 2600 games I do enjoy playing, but, yeah. Defender, yeah, this is in pretty nice shape. Well, Defender is a game that, I've played before on, like, Midway Arcade Treasures for the GameCube, but this, hey, it's cool to have a 2600 port. I've never been that crazy over Defender, but, this, at least, it's a port that seems to play well, and, hey, I guess that's pretty good enough. What the hell am I saying? Kangaroo, yes, another arcade knockout from Atari. Yes, I believe this was an arcade game, and while playing it, yes, it is similar to Donkey Kong, with the whole climbing up, a little area, not construction area, like a jungle, I assume. I've played a little bit of it, and, it's kind of cool. I like, what they're doing here. Not the best, but, hey, considering how cheap it is along with other 2600 games, I guess if you are curious, you can't go wrong. Alright, now we have here we have the first of its kind, at least for me, a magic game, yeah, by Magic, or I could be pronouncing that wrong, but anyways, it's a Riddle of the Sphinx, in this unique cartridge shape. And that's kind of why I really wanted it, I figured, hey, let's get some more 2600 cartridge variants, and, Riddle of the Sphinx, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I'm just, like, walking up forward, shooting things, and then eventually I died after, like, randomly going around for, like, 3 minutes. I don't understand it. Not saying it's bad, but holy shit, I just don't understand this. And then we have Towering Inferno, which, if I remember this correctly, or just, actually I do remember this correctly, it's like you put out some fires and then you move to a next area, so maybe it's like Burning Rangers on the Sega Saturn, or not, probably not actually, but yeah, it's, I remember it being kind of cool, but it's hard to say, because I don't know, how do others feel about this game? How do the folks at Atari Age feel about this? They're posting up probably some pictures of some sealed, maybe they have like sealed copy of this, I don't know, I mean, could understand a sealed Kangaroo or a sealed Defender. Okay, maybe not sealed Defender, but a sealed Kangaroo, or maybe a sealed Real Sports Tennis. Those would be common. Maybe this might be uncommon. I don't know. I'm rambling. Okay, so yeah, that's Atari 2600 stuff. Now, on to Sega CD stuff. Something I've definitely been, trying to get more games for. The Sega CD is one of the few systems I own in which, well, assuming it's not a Mega CD game, because I can't play Mega CD games because stupid-ass fucking region locking that I hate and I want to die in a fire. Region locking is the fucking pits. It needs to die in the worst way possible. Anyways, back on topic. But yeah, the Sega CD is one of the few systems I'll accept any game for. I don't care what it is. Well, I mean, I guess assuming I can play it unless it's like some game that requires some sort of special controller, which I don't believe there is anything like that. But, yeah. I mean, there are lots of Sega CD games I want. Like, I'd love to get Soul Star, Android Assault, Lords of Thunder, maybe even like Vey. you know, just all kinds of stuff like that, but, you know, I can't afford that. In fact, many people can't, so that's why I just kind of put up with stuff like Stellar Fire right here by Dynamics. They also made Rise of the Dragon on the Sega CD, another game I'd love to get soon. What this is, it's basically just, you know, you're going around in this area. I believe you're, like, supposed to be collecting crystals or something. You know, you're shooting down some enemies and some graphics that kind of look like, you know, Star Fox, you know, with the whole Super Effects chip. But, yeah, this is, not exactly a stellar game. I mean, it's cool to own because this is a North American only game. Like, there's no Mega CD version of this, so yeah. But honestly, the rest of the world isn't really missing out much on this because it's kind of like mindless as fuck and not the most entertaining. But it's definitely something I want to give more of a chance. And, you know, honestly, I'd rather play this over, like, you know, Tomcat Alley or Mad Dog McCree, and especially, you know, fucking Bram Stoker's Dracula. But, you know, yeah, whatever. But it's kind of unique. It's more unique than Formula 1 World Championship Beyond the Limit. But one thing interesting to note is that if a Sega CD Games logo is down here, because, like, if you compare it, as you can see, the placement of the Sega CD logo, or Sega CD text, rather, is different. It's lower, so that means this is a late Sega CD release. I mean, other games did that, I believe. Echo the Tides of Time did that. I know Wild Woody did that. But yeah, as for Formula 1 World Championship Beyond the Limit, well, you race. Formula 1 racing, realistic racing. Honestly, I have, like, so many fucking games that are like this. And I do get a kick out of some of them, like, you know, Gran Turismo 3 on the PlayStation 2, maybe Forza Motorsport on the original Xbox, but it's like, with this, it's like, it's really just cool to have because, you know, it's a Sega CD game, and maybe I'll play it every now and then, but really, the Sega CD games that I'm investing my time in are Battle Core and Spider-Man vs. the Kingpin, but, yeah, whatever. Now we have an Xbox 360 game, my first Xbox 360 game of the year that I owned, because right there is my entire Xbox collection, minus this. So just imagine that. That's not even like 40 games, which is pretty sad, I'll admit. You know, I definitely need to expand upon that. But, yeah, Battle Fantasia. I saw this at a pawn shop for like $5. And, you know, the front cover, okay, it's interesting, but then the back. I saw this screenshot, focus, this screenshot right here convinced me to get this game for $5. This screenshot. The other two, you know, they're fine, but this, just like, okay, fuck it, $5, let's do this. I played it, and, it's a decent fighter. Granted, the action can feel maybe slightly delayed or clunky. I don't know what's the best term to describe it. But playing it, it's definitely not as good as a lot of other fighters, but it's certainly not, you know, awful. I do think it does have its, you know, moments of being enjoyable. But honestly, if I'm going to be playing a fighter, and the fighter I'm going to be playing that I've been playing recently is good old Aquapazza Aqua Plus Dream Match for the PlayStation 3. But yeah, Battle Fantasia, it's there. The thing is, it's not exclusive to the Xbox 360, so I guess if you're really curious, you could get this dirt cheap on both, like, the Xbox 360 or the PS3, so, yeah, have fun. Alrighty then, how about a PS3 game, High Velocity Bowling. Now, this is, one of two bowling games, I think, on the PlayStation 3, the other one is Brunswick Pro Bowling. I think there might be another one, like I think there's one that was only released digitally, but in terms of standalone bowling games, this is one of the only ones, and, well, it's kind of annoying that it is motion controlled. You can't just, I don't think you can just, like, control it, like with standard controls, which I guess that means if you don't have the DualShock 3, this is pretty much a glorified coaster, because you can't fucking play it. But yeah, it's bowling. I haven't played too much of it to, like, you know, judge its, like, pin physics or whatever, but I do like its, you know, variety of, bowling alleys. Graphics are obviously nice because, well, it's PlayStation 3. Was slightly recent, you know, came out in 2010. That was the year my very first video, or not my very first video, my oldest surviving video was made, which was Lego Pinball Machine. Not my first video, just my oldest surviving video. But yeah, still not the best bowling. I think my two favorite bowling games are still Super Bowling on the Super Nintendo and Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling on the N64, but hey, for what this is, it's, you know, fine. And the fact that I got it for like $10, which I believe is like half of what it normally goes for on eBay, makes it all the more worth it, I suppose. That, and also it looks nice on a shelf, and hey, it's a decent little distraction, although really, if it had the standard controls rather than the motion controls, I think that would have been also much better. Maybe give this game a little more replay value in that sense, because I think I've only played this twice, so yeah. Alright, here comes the feature presentation, shall we say. A PlayStation Portable 1000. Now the thing is about the PSP is that ever since like 2009, my brother had a PSP 2000. He actually bought it, you know, brand new. It's not like he bought it used. Sony got his money from that PSP 2000 that he bought. Well, actually, my dad bought it for him, but, yeah. So, I wanted a PSP, you know, because the thing is, like, my brother's PSP, you know, even though he had it for years and it served him well, it kind of fucking just died on him. And even when it was dying, it wasn't really good at reading discs, so that's why I couldn't get really any games for it. Now, for years, the two games that I've had my mind on for the PSP, and, you know, I guess you can guess them, are Sonic Rivals 1 and 2. But at the same time, there were games I still wanted to discover and play, and I'm still kind of doing that currently. But, you know, Sonic Rivals 1 and 2 was definitely on the mind because they were, you know, like a couple other Sonic games I've wanted to play or known about for years, but couldn't. Such as Sonic Shuffle, because, you know, it's only on the Dreamcast. It's not ported to anything else. Or Knuckles Chaotix, which is only on the 32X. It's not ported onto anything else. Though eventually I got those, you know, this is one of the few systems left. But, you know, I didn't just get these two. You know, there's definitely other games I want to get on the PSP because, you know, the PSP is like the most successful handheld that isn't a Nintendo system. Like, I think it's actually more successful than the Game Boy Color, at the very least. But, like, you know, obviously it didn't outsell the DS, but it definitely has a lot of good features, you know, like you can put emulators on here. Like, you could put music on here, and I know you can do that with, like, the 3DS, but I don't believe you can do that with, like, the original DS, you know. There's definitely, like, a lot of features that I would call worthy of the PSP being, you know, definitely a worthy competitor to the, you know, DS and really just Nintendo handhelds in general. You know, definitely I don't think it's something very, like, you know, accessible to some people, because some people probably don't even own a PSP, you know. I mean, surely you probably know somebody who owns one, but it's like, you know, hey, you got the DS and that's that. That's what it's been like for years, because, you know, hey, pretty much every other handheld that's ever competed against Nintendo has, well, never really succeeded. The closest is really the Game Gear. I mean, just look at, like, the Wonder Swan, or the Neo Geo Pocket Color, or the N-Gage, you know. And handhelds are something that I would like to get more, but, you know, hey, the PSP was definitely the biggest priority out of all those handhelds, and it's definitely, you know, something nice to own. Though I question Sony's decision to, like, you know, have this play UMDs, essentially, you know, like discs. I mean, they're not like CDs, they're like, you guys probably know, but like with the whole, like this, you know, these little tiny CDs encased in these plastic cases. Because I would figure, because, you know, people might be shaking around, they might have to be, like, really careful, you know, so they don't, like, damage the disk drive or whatever, but, yeah. I don't know, I mean, I guess maybe they thought around that, I don't know, I'm just speculating here, but yes, it's very nice to have a PlayStation Portable. Now, let's talk about games. You know, I'll talk about these later, because I've got some more things to say. First off, SOCOM. Yeah. SOCOM U.S. Navy SEALs Fireteam Bravo, or maybe it's just SOCOM Fireteam Bravo, I don't know. I believe this is meaning that it's an earlier PSP game, because as you can see, the logo on here is smaller compared to, like, you know, shit. Compared to like most other PSP games. I don't know if that's like means it's earlier or it's later. I'm gonna assume probably earlier because I believe this game came out in like 2005. Now I only have this because when I got my PSP, I, purchased it off of a, well actually my dad got it for me through the son of a coworker's friend or something like that. It's hard to explain, but yeah, basically when I got the PSP, it came with SOCOM, Fireteam Bravo, and it also came with Tiger Woods PGA Tour. Here's the thing. SOCOM Fireteam Bravo only had the UMD, but the thing is, because this game is so dirt cheap, I actually bought a complete copy. In fact, I have the extra UMD here. It's just sitting here. But what can I say about the game? Well, I don't give a shit about the SOCOM series. I'm sorry, I'm not saying it's bad, I just don't care for this type of game or series, really. And hey, I played for a few minutes, yay, did stuff, woo. That's all I can say about it. Tiger Woods PGA Tour is kind of interesting. I'm always down for a good golf game. My most wanted golf game would be either Mario Golf on the N64 or like Hot Shots Golf. One of the Hot Shots Golf games, be it on the PSP or the PS2. But this is kind of interesting. For one thing, I don't get why he's like just pointing at you. It's like, hey, you got your attention, now buy this fucking game. But hey, it's like another one of them EA games. Yeah, EA Sports. How come EA never makes like volleyball games? I don't know. Why don't they do like more sports? Like, I don't know, dodgeball or some shit. Like, yeah, expand your market. Though honestly, everyone hates EA now because they've done some fucked up shit. I mean, granted, so have many other companies, but EA, man. But yeah, Tiger Woods PGA Tour, interesting golf game. Chameleon, mediocre as fuck puzzle game. Though I guess they tried to implement some sort of strategy here, because basically by the end of a few turns, you gotta have your entire side of the field, or at least you gotta have 50% or more of the field of your color. Like, it's really hard to describe. Honestly, just look up gameplay, because I'd be here all day if I tried to describe how this plays. But all I can say is it's not very exciting. It feels very straightforward, kind of dull, to be honest. I mean, it can be potentially entertaining, but it's like, I don't know, man. I really don't know about this. Though I do like the little touch of the anime art style. That is nice, but the game itself is pretty mediocre, to be honest. Wipeout Pure. Yeah, the only Wipeout game I've ever owned was Wipeout 64. So it's pretty nice to have this, and well, yeah, this is pretty damn fun. I mean, granted, with the Wipeout games, I noticed there's a lot of crashing into the walls because of the way the game controls, but you gotta master hit things here and there, and I do look forward to playing this more. I have enjoyed it quite a bit, actually, and apparently so have others. Wipeout Pure is a very good game, and I do really like this cover art, too. Should get like Wipeout XL on the PS1 next. Now then, let's talk about Sonic Rivals. Well, basically, as some of you may know, they're racing games, but not in the sense of like Sonic R, Sonic Riders, or Sonic Drift, or Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. They kind of, in a way, play like Sonic Rush with its like very straightforward level design, or that hold right to win design. But in a way, I guess they decided, hey, let's take the concepts of Tails' stages from Sonic Adventure and, well, flesh them out into one big whole game. And, well, I really did like Tails' portions in Sonic Adventure, and just love Sonic Adventure as a whole. Well, almost as a whole, rather. It's like, I think they did a pretty good job. Honestly, playing both these games, I think they did a good job of, mixing up the variety with the bosses, or like the knockout sessions, which in Sonic Rivals 2, I'm not sure if they're in Sonic Rivals 1. I haven't played that much of this, because, Sonic Rivals 2 is just so much better. Let's just get that out of the way. It's just a much better game, especially in presentation-wise, where they actually have the voice actors. Because there's not full voice acting in Sonic Rivals 1. But it's like, well, there are voice clips, so did they hire good old Jason Griffin and Mike Pollock you know, to do some voices, or were they just archive footage? Maybe same case with Dan Green, you know, to voice Knuckles, or whoever the hell was Silver's voice actor. I don't know at the moment. But yeah, with Sonic Rivals 2, they really did a good job with a nice variety. Like, I do really like the variety of, like, courses and zones in both these games. I think they did a good job with that. And, you know, like, it's enjoyable in short bursts, I feel. Or maybe even marathons. Either way, it works out pretty well. And I think they did a pretty good job of, you know, balancing out the difficulty for the most part. You know, it definitely feels like, oh, if you screwed up, it's your fault. Like, you know, like what games should be. And I feel like, you know, this is enjoyable. Both these games are enjoyable. Now, I would say if you only just have the second one and not the first, then don't feel too bad. But, like, you know, I want to get them both because, hey, I'm after every Sonic game I can. So, I can't say I'm disappointed. You know, I do like these games, and, hey, not sure. They're not really talked about as much, or hated on, or bashed on, or debated on whether what's good or better compared to, you know, a lot of other Sonic games. Maybe because I don't know how many people played them, how many people played these. You know, I think more people have a lot more to say about, like, fucking Tales and the Music Maker for the Sega Pico than they do these. Okay, maybe not that. That's a bit of a stretch. But, yeah. I do like these games, though. And I do like the fact that I finally have a PSP. And if you watched all this time right here, if you watched this whole video, then congrats. You should get a PSP. Somebody should get you a PSP. Somebody should get you fucking, like, this entire Wii U collection. Yeah. Yeah.